Hyperkey 0 to catch the 5 strokes with 1 button.
See what it's saying there? What's it say?
You would do the number, however many strokes, instead of sitting there going G, 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 G.
What's the number for 5? 0. So it starts at like 7. Yeah, it starts at 7. So if you're in hyperkeys, all you have to do is push 7 and it automatically marks, I think it's 2, 3, 4, yeah, 2. 7 is 2. Do it. Try it.
That's why I was messing up on my test today.
Yeah, probably
I
marking.
type in dates and it just would do all this crazy weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we would start with.
Because you can't be in hyperkeys and push numbers. Because numbers in hyperkeys, some of them are commands. They're commands.
Even when I got off of hyperkeys, then it would select the little commands that are.
Because on the side, and I'm going to show you that in just a second, and we talked about that. You may not have been here that week, but anyway, we talked about that. If it starts doing that, don't freak out. Push Z, escape, Z, it'll fix it, blah, blah, blah. Go back to that spot. Make sure that you push in for insert, and if it's still like a number or something and it's still messing up, then there's a command over here for insert.
It's usually control N for me as well.
Control,
It's
either
what-
N or control N. But yeah.
Control N is usually like the backup one, and it's pretty consistently that same.
Yeah, and I'll show you in just a second. I'll show you on a different thing. But y'all see what this, 7 is 2, 8 is 3, 9 is 4, O is 5. So if you want to do it quick, you can. I'll be honest with you, I don't use it. You can.
Confusing.
Huh?
It's confusing when you try to put the 0 or 5.
Well, I mean, you know, and once you start using it, then it becomes a little bit easier. It's just easier for me to do Control G to where I want to go, and it's quick. I do it quick. So it may be a 1/100th of a second faster doing it the 8 than it is for me, but whatever. So whatever you like to do, whatever you feel comfortable with, do it. It's just telling you there's a shortcut for doing it. So if you know there's a stroke and you know it's 2, you just push 7 and it marks the 2 strokes. Okay? Make sense? All right. Here's just kind of telling you the same thing. All G is 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 0. Okay?
How do you say what your steno means? Total Eclipse lets you global at a glance. Glance at the list, pick the choice. It's that easy. Pick the choice. It's that easy. Ordinary CAT systems may try to use a basic phonetics table and the spelling dictionary to try to guess what you're globaling. This approach is typically not very successful and easily produces nonsense suggestions that only wind up adding steps to the globaling process. In contrast, Total Eclipse Global Magic is a sophisticated blend of several powerful tools. It's amazingly accurate and it requires no extra steps. Here, with one button, I've marked 4 steno strokes for a global replacement. Eclipse automatically generates a short list of suggestions using intelligent phonetics. No need to type, or press the Alt key or scroll or use the mouse. Glance at the list, press 1, then either press Enter or place this in any dictionary I need. Total Eclipse understands it's easy to drag or drop keys when you're writing complicated steno like vancomycin. A glance at the list, the right choice jumps out at me. Choice 1. I won't put this in a dictionary, but I'll just apply it to the rest of the job. So your steno doesn't have to be perfect to take advantage of global magic. This time I dragged in the number bar. Total Eclipse understands choice 1 and enter. Total Eclipse understands steno stacking. Choice 1, the suffix s followed by you have. we'll see it applied with intelligent spelling adjustments. How many times do you retype text as you're defining different ways of writing new names or terms in a job? Here I have a job dictionary entry for Tetra Technologies. The next time I wrote it, it's stacked with the period. No problem. Total Eclipse understands steno stacking. Choice 2, and it automatically offers to place this capitalized text in the job dictionary. Enter. Most of the time you'll probably find that the suggestion you need is at the top of the list. But if Eclipse has not guessed properly, just start typing. No additional steps are needed to make the glance list disappear. A quick note, a little tweaking of your phonetics table can really help Total Eclipse tune in to your writing style. Although Global Magic combines many sophisticated features, it's easy to use, even for editing from the steno keyboard. It can help you to quickly read your steno, greatly reduce your typing, and the more you use it, the better it gets.
The more you use it, the better it gets. Okay? I'm going to go through that again. There was a lot of information in there, and I'll kind of go through it again and kind of stop on the points that I think, but
How do you set the list? Pick the choice. It's that easy. Ordinary CAT systems may try to use a basic phonetics table and the spelling dictionary to try to guess what you're globaling.
so it's going to kind of guess at what it thinks that you were trying to do there. Okay? May be the right choice, it may not. If it's the right choice, you pick the number, press enter, go on. You know, no big deal. If it's not, then you just type in the word. And that's what it's telling you right there.
This approach is typically not very successful and easily produces nonsense.
So you see what the stroke was Parkinson.
To try to guess what you're globaling. This approach
Parkinsonian. Okay? Maybe it's a word, maybe it's not, I don't know. You know, but somebody said it. So now you have to put it in there, whether it's a word or not. So now Global Magic is going to try to go through and try to guess at what you were trying to do there. And sometimes it gives you
is typically not very
suggestions
successful and easy.
that are just way out of, you know, Perkins seasoning. I don't know. Par-in seasoning. I don't, you know. It's just guessing at stuff, you know, at what you stroked, you know. And you know, it could be anything. But it was probably that one. Probably. Or if you meant Perkin seasoning, okay. And that's just the way you stroked it, that's the way you heard it, and that's the way you stroked it, then you push number 4, it goes in there, no big deal. But it's telling you sometimes it comes up with a lot of nonsense that you don't really need, okay?
Easily produces nonsense suggestions that only wind up adding steps to the globaling process. In contrast, Total Eclipse Global Magic is a sophisticated blend of several powerful tools. It's amazingly accurate and it requires no extra steps. Here, with one button, I've marked 4 steno strokes for a global replacement.
And how would you do that if you want to mark 4 strokes real quick?
G.
The number 9.
Number 9. 7's 2, 8's 3, 9's 4, 0's 5. Okay? So if you wanted to mark this, it would be what?
6.
Well,
9.
It's 3.
So when you're
Turn the 6
doing,
around.
7 is 2.
Yeah.
when you're doing that, do you do Control G and then do the number
Huh?
to mark a series like a?
No, you'd be like right here.
Oh, you just go and you just click.
Yeah, and you just push 9 and it should mark the 4. It should mark the 4 strokes.
Why did they select those numbers?
Because the other numbers mean something. So they have the other numbers that do stuff. That's why. Yeah. Okay?
Eclipse automatically generates a short list of
So it's going to come up here and you have Impaima. So it's 4 strokes. That's what it means. Okay? But what if they said Impaimas and you stroked Impaima? That's the only time they said it. Or they said it a couple of more times, and every time you stroked it, you never put the S on there. No big deal. You just push number 2 and global it, push number 2, put it in a job dictionary, because you don't, I mean, I guess you could put it in your main dictionary if you wanted to, if you think you're gonna hear it again, but whatever. Got it?
Suggestions using intelligent phonetics. No need to type or press the Alt key or scroll or use the mouse. Glance at the list, press 1, then either press Enter or place this in any dictionary I need. Total Eclipse understands it's easy to drag or drop keys when you're writing complicated steno like vancomycin. A glance at the list, the right choice jumps out at me.
And you see what they did right there? It's vancomycin, but they put vancomyces. Okay? No big deal. If that's the way you heard it or whatever, it's like, oh, I kept hearing, and sometimes people, whether they, don't speak clearly or whether they have a lisp or whatever, they just got the word wrong.
Stupid people trying to sound intelligent using big words and split their tongue and crack their teeth.
Or that.
Also,
For that
Taco
reason.
Bell.
I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just come right here, press number 1, if that's what you meant, or maybe you meant something else, maybe it was vancomycosis. I don't know, and not vancomycin. So, all it does is it just gives you, all it's telling you is that it just gives you options. You pick the option.
In your job, would you have advanced information about some of the drugs and things like that that are used?
Sometimes. I mean, we deal with pretty much the same stuff. So you're dealing with mental health stuff. So a lot of it's the same medications. But, they're coming up with new medications every day or every week. So, because a kid is on something for sleep, they need him to sleep, and now they came up with something else, a totally different medication. So, yeah. So a lot of times you will. So a lot of times we hear the same old stuff, like, we hear heroin every day, cocaine every day, marijuana every day, meth, methamphetamines, amphetamines. That's 3 strokes. Methamphetamines is 4 strokes if you stroke it out. So, I mean, I have a brief for all of those. 1 stroke briefs, methamphetamine is meth, amphetamines is am, and the stuff that we use every day. So I know, if somebody comes in and their last name is Ambazagato, I'm not stroking that out. So I would do am with the asterisk. Am asterisk, because am is amphetamines. Or if I know that they're not going to talk about amphetamines in that thing because they weren't doing any drugs, then I just do am, and it's going to come up amphetamines, global it, redefine it as ambazodola or whatever I said. So just because you use a certain brief for something doesn't mean that you can't use it for something else. You want something that's going to come to you quick. So when you're using briefs, you want something that's going to come quick. If it doesn't come quick, and you think that it's good, 1, practice that brief, or 2, think of something else because it's not working. Okay? But if you think that it's like, man, that is a great brief for that word, or whatever, then I just need to start practicing it, so that when I hear it, I mean, it becomes second nature. Okay?
Choice 1. I won't put this in a dictionary, but I'll just apply it to the rest of the job. So your steno doesn't have to be perfect to take advantage of global magic. This time I dragged in the number bar.
And you see what it did right here? It dragged in the number bar. So the way that they do assume is sum. S, long U-M. Sum is the way that they do assume. Well, when they were doing I guess the S, they went too far up and pressed the number bar down. So now it came up in numbers. Well, a lot of times Global Magic is going to say, with all of these numbers together in one stroke, kind of unusual, because to have 15OU78, really? Probably not. So what it's going to tell you is, well, that is one of the choices, or this stroke, when in letters, is assumed. And is that what you want? And that's what it's going to explain.
Total Eclipse understands. Choice 1 and enter.
See what it did? So the first choice that it's going to give you is usually the one that you stroke the most. Okay? So then you just pick number 1, go on.
Total Eclipse understands steno stacking. Choice 1, the suffix s.
And you see what they're doing here on the steno stacking? So what it's supposed to read is, assume there are many cities have you worked in before. I don't know what the other part of this is, but it's supposed to make sense. So it's supposed to be cities have you. Their have you is VU, which it should be. Is that for y'all? Okay. That's how you define it. Okay? So if you stack and say your S has a tendency on stacking onto something else, then that's how you want to define it. Bracket, caret, which means put together, S, bracket. So when it's caret, letter, that means that it's going to be a suffix. If it's letter, caret, that means it's a prefix. So be careful with where you put that caret, because that's going to determine whether it's a prefix or a suffix. Do you understand that? Yes? No? Yes. Okay. So you want it to be a suffix because it was at the end of the word, at the end of this stroke, but it was supposed to attach onto here. So you wrote the stroke for city, added the S, which it was supposed to be cities, and then we're supposed to come back SRU, which is have you. But instead it's stacked with this stroke right here. No big deal. If you do it a lot. If you just did it that one time, don't really do it a lot. I guess you can put it in your dictionary, but you may have something for this. A brief, a stroke, something. So now every time that this comes up, if you've defined it as this, then it's going to come back. That's a suffix, have you. So now it's going to add the S to whatever word you put last, and then have you. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think of a word that would be VUS. Obvious? Maybe it's obvious. Obvious. So you have OB and then VUS. That's not the way I would stroke it, but the way that I would do it was VOUS. But if that's the way you hear it, that's the way you stroke it. Now it's going to come up OBS, OBS, and then have you, because you defined it that way. Okay? So if that's the way you stroke it, be careful. But if you do, you can always go back and correct it, no big deal. But that is the correct way. So write that down. You don't have to put IES, you don't have to put ES, and we're going to go over those later, okay, in this class, about prefixes, suffixes, and it's coming up, okay, and how you do it, because it's not how you think. And the auto intelligence in this thing already knows that it's C-I-T-Y, city. You know what? I just put S because I know that it's the suffix. How do you spell cities? C-I-T-I-E-S. You don't have to change it. It already knows. And it's going to show you right here.
Followed by you have. We'll see it applied with it.
See how it did it? You didn't have to do anything. it already knew to come back and put IES. So whether it's S, ES, IES, it already knows. It already knows from just about every word. You know, unless it's, just something ridiculous, but it pretty much knows. Like right here, you know, if you were to put S right there and it, you know, it came onto this stroke, or you had, you know, it right there, you don't have to. You don't have to put IES. It already knows. Drop the Y, put IES, you're done. It doesn't put COMPANYS. It already knows to take the Y down, put the IE and the S. Okay? Got it? Smarter, not harder. Okay? Don't overdo it.
Intelligent spelling adjustments. How many times do you retype text as you're defining different ways?
Okay, what they were talking about right here is that they're taking the deposition of Tetra Technologies, and they keep saying it, saying it, saying it. Guys, seriously? You're gonna write that whole thing every time? Tetra Technologies? That's 5 strokes. Tetra Technologies, yeah. You can do it in 5 strokes. For 2 strokes. I don't care what you do. You can do whatever you want. But what they're saying right here is that, make it brief. TET for Tetra Technologies. One, it's an acronym because it's all capped. And then technologies, okay? So you do TET, no big deal. So it defines it as Tetra Technologies.
Of writing new names or terms in a job. Here I have a job dictionary entry for Tetra Technologies. The next time I wrote it, it's stacked with
the period right here. But it knows that TET and TE are pretty close to the last stroke that you did. So now what it's going to do is it's going to give you the option of, is this what you meant? Did you mean Tetra Technologies? Because the last time that you did it, it was Tetra Technologies. So watch what it's going to do.
the period. No problem.
So now it's going to tell you, did you mean Tetra Technologies, or did you mean Tetra Technologies with a period? And that's what you meant to do. Tetra Technologies, I believe that was it. See? So it'll do a bunch of other things. You know, if you put a comma in there, and it was tet, te, comma, which I don't know what comma is for y'all, but for us, for me, regular court reporters, I'm just kidding. It's RBGS. Is that what it is for y'all? See, it's something totally different.
Mine's WB.
I'm sorry?
WB.
Don't ever do that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, now I'm getting delirious.
I actually like that a lot better.
Which one?
The RB, whatever y'all are saying.
See, in the period is FPLT. FPLT for period, RBGS for comma,
PP
whatever.
for period.
Huh?
PP.
Yeah, don't use that. But if it, you know, if it conflicts with what you're doing, then you can put in here that that's what you needed to do. Make sense? Are you falling asleep?
Yes, I'm falling asleep.
Huh?
I love your class, but I'm just really tired.
Okay, so it's gonna know. So what you wanna do is you wanna pick number 2, not number 1. Right there. Does everybody know why?
Because you want the period.
Because you stacked it with the period. Okay? That's why you want number 2 instead of number 1. But if you pick number 1, no big deal. Go back over here, push period, puts a period there, no big deal. But next time it stacks like that, don't be surprised if it puts a Tetra Technologies again without the period. Because the more times you do it, the more it's going to kind of remember what you're doing, and it's going to kind of automatically do it for you. Okay? Make sense?
Total Eclipse understands steno stacking. Choice 2, and it automatically offers to place this capitalized text in the job dictionary. Enter. Most of the time, you'll probably find that the suggestion you need is at the top of the list. But if Eclipse has not guessed properly, just start typing. No additional steps are needed to make the glance list disappear. A quick note, a little tweaking of your
Did you understand what he was saying right there? Pretty easy.
phonetics table can really help Total Eclipse tune in to your writing style. Although Global Magic combines many sophisticated features, it's easy to use, even for editing from the steno keyboard. It can help you to quickly read your steno, greatly reduce your typing, and the more you use it, the better it gets.
Got it? Okay. That's gonna be all for this week. Guys, we covered a lot of stuff today in this little thing, okay? So if you come here, it's gonna allow you to do some stuff. There's a little exercise right there, and you can do the exercise using the global, the G, or the Alt 708. Really, if you're not in HyperKeys, that's what it is. It's Alt 7, Alt 8, blah, blah, blah. But if you're in HyperKeys, it's just 7, 8, 9, 10 on the globally. Mess with that a little bit. See if you like it. If you like it, great, use it. If you don't use it, whatever. Any questions? No?
You covered them all. I had the questions on the numbers, and it makes a lot of sense what happened there.
On the numbers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to type in the dates.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know?